Hey, what's up? This is David, aka Packet Stealer. Follow me on Twitter at Packet Stealer. And today I wanted to share my brief impressions of the Outriders demo. Outriders is an action RPG looter shooter that's somewhat in the vein of games like Destiny 2, The Division 2, Warframe, and other not so successful games. I'm going to put out a follow-up video to this asking if Outriders can succeed where Anthem failed. Anyways, on to my thoughts. Graphically, the game overall looks pretty good. I don't think they'll necessarily blow you away, but it gets the job done. I'm not a digital foundry type that does in-depth graphical analysis, but as a regular guy playing the game, it looks fine to me. Animations are smooth, and I didn't really notice any graphical glitches or bugs or anything. Now, performance, on the other hand, is somewhat spotty. So I'm playing the game on PC with a Ryzen 7 3700X and an NVIDIA RTX 3070, and I can run the game well over 60 frames consistently at 1440p and over 100 frames at 1080p. But there were times in the main hub area where the performance kind of chugged. Sometimes I did see dips in like the lower 50s and even 40s in those areas. Also, cutscenes were stuck at 30 frames per second, although developer People Can Fly did say that those issues would be fixed, so there's that. However, other than those issues, I didn't really see any other performance issues. I mean, no crashes, no bugs, just mostly smooth performance, although perhaps your mileage may vary depending on the platform that you're playing on. Say that 10 times fast. I would describe the moment-to-moment gameplay as a mixture of The Division 2, Mass Effect, and Gears of War. Now, that's not a bad thing at all in my opinion. On a PC, there's excellent controller support, although you may need to calibrate the thumbsticks a bit to kind of get a good feel. While you can use mouse and keyboard, of course, I prefer to use a controller for these types of games. It's technically a cover-based shooter, but the game really incentivizes you to be aggressive, kind of like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. There aren't any health pickups, so you have to rely on killing people to regenerate your health. While shooting guns is the primary way to kill people, you'll have an array of abilities at your disposal, depending on what class you choose towards the beginning of the game. There are 4 classes to choose from: the Pyromancer, a more mid-range type class; the Trickster, which is what I chose, a more hit-and-run short-range class; the Devastator, a defensive and tank class; and the Technomancer, a long-range and support type class. Now, I won't get into the details of each class because there are plenty of YouTube videos already out there about it. I'll just link a few in the description if you're interested in figuring out which class is good for you. Each class has 8 abilities that you gain as you level up. You can use up to 3 at a time, but you can switch out the abilities on the fly. I chose the Trickster because I like the ninja-like capabilities such as teleporting behind someone and blasting them in the face. Each class has a skill tree where you can kind of specialize in a particular build. Perhaps you want to focus more on damage, or perhaps you want a more tanky build. You can actually respec the entire tree if you decide if you want to do something else, so that's pretty cool. It's very gamer friendly and very welcome. Going back to the gameplay and powers, you can use any of the weapons in the game, but some weapons will get buffs depending on your class. For example, the Trickster gains buffs for shotguns and SMGs because of its focus on short-range combat, whereas the Technomancer gets buffs on sniper rifles because its focus is on long-range damage. The guns themselves feel pretty good and appropriately powerful. The powers themselves are really fun to use as well. They also cause some status effects depending on the class. For the Trickster, my powers were centered on slowing down enemies using my space-time disruptions. My favorites are the time bubble thing that slows down anything inside of it, including enemies and bullets, while allowing myself and my allies to move normally. You can also use this as a sort of shield to slow down bullets being fired at you. My other favorite allows me to teleport behind enemies, which causes them to move slow and for me to blow their face off. It's very satisfying. Of course, this is a looter shooter, so a major part of the game is collecting various pieces of armor and weapons of different rarities. As you play the game, you'll notice something called world tiers. This is essentially the game's difficulty level and goes up to tier 15, although the demo is limited to tier 7. The higher the tier, the more dangerous the enemies, but you also have a higher chance of better loot. The good thing is that loot is dropped pretty regularly, and epic and legendary loot are fairly earned. The thing is, you can actually lower or raise the world tier at will, as long as you've already earned that tier. So for example, if you're playing at world tier 4, you can't go up to 7 unless you've already earned the 7 tier. Since you can play the game with up to 2 people, this could be beneficial if you're trying to help, a lower leveled friend. There's also a crafting system, but that's not available in the demo, and I'm not really into crafting myself, so I'm not really too keen on it anyway. People Can Fly has stated that this is not a games as a service, and that this is a full game from start to finish. There are no season passes, no battle passes, or anything. We'll get more into that in my next video, but that sort of leads me into the story. So mankind has somehow made Earth unlivable, and have sent out these arcs to the planet Enoch. It almost sounds like Mass Effect Andromeda. As an Outrider, you're tasked with helping to find a safe place for the arcs to land. Of course, things don't go according to plan, and a massive energy storm called the Anomaly strikes and ends up giving you superpowers, causing you to become something called an Altered. From there, a war breaks out on Enoch and you're caught in the middle. I've seen some people criticize the writing, and while it can be a little cringe at times, I didn't really think it was that bad. That said, you only play through a small slice of the beginning of the game, so I'll wait to judge the story when the full game comes out. Like most RPGs, you have the ability to customize your character before the game starts. However, it's not really that good, and I wish they had way more choices, especially as a black man. I mean, you would think that they would have more choices geared towards different ethnicities and all of that, and so that's definitely something that should be improved before the game releases. However, the game overall left a good impression on me. As a primary solo player, I like the fact that I can play the entire game by myself, although the game is somewhat geared towards multiplayer. I'd highly recommend downloading the demo and playing for yourself. The good news is that you'll be able to transfer progress to the full game as long as you buy it on the same platform. So if you play the demo on Xbox, you can't transfer the progress to PlayStation or PC. Even on PC, if you play the demo on Steam, you can't transfer progress to the Epic Game Store version. There's a ton more I could say about the game, but I just wanted this to be an impressions video. Stay tuned for a future video where I talk about how this game can succeed where Anthem and the Avengers failed. Also, I stream on Twitch and Facebook Gaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to stop by and say what's up. Thank you for watching this video, and like if you like, sub if you love, and until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.